So the first thing you have to do for your pallet wall is actually cut down the pallets. I did zero prep work for mine. As you can see, we left it rough because we wanted our wall to be more rustic looking and rough. If you want to sand them down, you can also do that, but I would do that before you cut up the pallets. That way it's easier to handle the pallets. I actually sanded some for my son's bathroom wall. So when you sand them, they're a lot smoother. There's an unsanded side, but there's sanded wood. I did that for my son's bathroom, so it didn't, scratch people when they were using it. But we generally don't touch that wall, and it's behind the furniture, so we left that raw. So the first thing you have to do is you stand the pallet up, and I'll show you the video later. It's too loud for me to voice over it, so I'm just going to talk before. You just run your Sawzall down and cut out the end boards, and then you would cut out the middle boards, but you have to take one board off at a time, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I showed him cutting down almost an entire pallet, so you get to see everything that you do. But it's actually pretty simple. I think by the end we had it to where we could cut a pallet down in 5 to 7 minutes, and even I could do it. While my 10-year-old held a pallet, I cut one down. Actually, we cut down 3. So it's pretty easy. A 10-year-old and I could do it. So you really just need a Sawzall that can cut through wood and some nails. I think they get the idea. So the next step you would do is to stain your wood if you want to. I kind of wanted it to be a little crazy, all different colors, so I got quite a few colors. I honestly prefer the Rust-Oleum wood stain. I feel like it goes on a little easier, it dries faster, it's not... I don't know. I just feel like it works better. You definitely want to stir all of your stain before you use it. Shaking it up isn't good enough. You want to get a stir stick and you want to stir it because stuff gets, stuck to the bottom. I also tried mixing a couple of stains to make a darker color. It didn't work out very well. I ended up going back over this color that I'm doing here that's a mixture that looked just like the dark stain. I just went back over it with some black stain later on and then wiped it off really fast to give myself, just a few really dark boards. Mixing the two stains didn't seem to work out so well. It wasn't much different than the actual color that I originally started with, the dark gray. So I am just gonna stain all of these boards. I wasn't working with very much space. It was kind of cold outside, so I could only do 6 boards at a time. So I would stain 6 boards and then give them a little bit to dry, and then I would stand them up somewhere else and load up 6 more boards and stain those. I found that it was easier to stain them in batches instead of doing out of my 6 boards doing different colors. I found it was easier to actually just stain all 6 boards one color and then move on and use a different color the next time. If you want it to be more, you know, uniform, you can count out how many boards you did. I didn't. I knew which colors I wanted to have more boards of, and I just made some more of those. Because I wanted the wall to be more, you know, random. So that's just the boards once they're stained. And then of course, you know, you want to wipe them down with a cloth. This is a different color. This is it the, it's the antique white. This one actually ended up being my favorite. So I used Rust-Oleum Antique White, Rust-Oleum Weathered Gray, I used a little bit of the Minwax Ebony. So now we have started placing the boards on the wall. Once they have dried, we went directly into the wall. We didn't want there to be any space between the wall and the pallet wood. Some people will build like a little frame on their wall using 1x and they only nail into that. We didn't want that. We didn't really think that that would look good on our wall. We wanted it to meet up and not have a gap. So we just nailed it with a nail gun directly into the wall. You start from, they usually will start from the middle of the wall, like instead of starting at just the top or the bottom, they'll start in the middle. We have a window in the middle of our wall, so what we did is we started at the bottom ledge. And we literally just started placing them randomly. Some of the boards we cut up into smaller pieces, and we just started randomly placing them wherever we wanted certain colors. The board he's doing right now is actually a scorched board. It's something I kind of decided to do at the last minute. I took just a bare pallet wood, and I took a blowtorch, and I just ran the blowtorch over it to burn the wood, so it's just scorched wood. I thought it would actually look really good, and it's one of my favorite parts of the pallet wall, so I'm really glad that I did it. So we just went through and used the nail gun and nailed these things up until they were secure. Just random places. You can see him, he just, you know, finds what works and nails it up there. And we're going to fill in the gaps later with boards of different colors. So he's gonna finish doing this, and then we'll show measuring out and filling in the little gaps.
Yeah, I can see it.
Is that gonna bother you?
No. That's the point of this wall, right? You gonna do something?
I wanted to make sure it didn't move.
So this is where we have all the big pieces up that, you know, we wanted to do, and now we've got some pieces along the edges that need filled. So all we do is we measure, you know, how long of a board we need, and we cut with the miter saw, and then we secure that piece onto the wall. It's really pretty simple. We made quite a few cuts, but they weren't, you know, anything major. We cut on the miter saw to fill in any gaps that you have. And that's it, you guys. That's how we did our pallet wood wall. It was actually really easy. It was really fun. I think total process time for us to do it was about 5 hours. Nothing too bad. A lot of that was staining. Honestly, the majority of it was cutting apart the wood and staining. Actually putting it up on the wall went pretty fast. We started towards the end there. His miter saw kind of started sounding a little funny. We were a little afraid it was going to stop working on us, but he's had it for like 15 years. So that kind of slowed us down a little bit. By the end, I was the one, you know, measuring, and he cut, and I was nailing everything up on the wall. So it's not hard at all, guys. I did it. The nailer makes it really easy if you don't have to drive nails in by hand. Obviously, you can do that. It's just going to take a lot longer. I guess you could screw them up if you wanted to, but honestly, the quickest thing to do is to use a nail gun. If you don't have one, hopefully you have a friend that can let you borrow it, or you might even be able to rent one from like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. A lot of them will have tool rental. It makes it a lot easier. It makes it go a lot faster. You saw how fast he was shooting those boards up, and they're really secure. Like, I don't have to worry about my wall going anywhere or popping out because we really nailed it in there. So if anybody has any questions, just let me know. I should be able to answer it because we did it all together, and even I was able to do it. So hopefully this helped.